how'd you find out about us in the first place?
I follow Joe Rogan, obviously. He's been talking about you guys forever, but then I saw Eric Anders' podcast, and he had so much good things to say about it, and it really gave me some hope.
But then I went to a cellular performance place in Mexico and got stem cells.
Clearly shit works. I've done a lot of things with stem cells.
I'm not thinking about surgery like I was, for sure. Huge improvements in my sleep, day-to-day pain and suffering, diminished probably 80%. So shoulders and elbows, doing really well. I can do like a little bit of bench press. I can do push-ups for the first time in so many years without pain. I mean, I'm sleeping 8 hours. Out of all the things, that's probably one of the best, just getting a good night's sleep.
CPI podcast. I got the short fuse here. Ed, good to have you in here. Good to see you back, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man. Very excited.
We have a little bit of a mixed bag of results, though, here with you, right?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So shoulders and elbows, doing really well, huge improvements in my sleep and just, day-to-day pain and suffering is diminished probably 80%. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
My neck's still, a work in progress. We're working around that, and we're going to try some more stuff this week, I think. So again, I'm excited to see how that works. But I definitely had a ton of improvements in my elbows and shoulders, like been able to avoid surgery. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, necks, discs are some of the hardest ones to work with, but we're really good at it. And sometimes they take a long time to heal. What was your injury that you had with your neck? I mean, I know you wrestled forever, so your neck's got to be messed up.
It was more of like a wear and tear, like just, degenerative kind of bone, starting to, like grow fragments and dealing with just, just the wear and tear, I think, is what a lot of it was. They said my neck was kind of naturally starting to fuse itself.
Oh, so the disc like really collapsed.
Right. So not completely collapsed, but just like, the bone starts to grow, trying to repair itself. So there's I can't remember the word they use for it, but there's just a lot of extra bone tissue in there that's causing a lot of friction.
I see. Yeah. So just years of tearing it up, training. It wasn't like a specific injury like mine or anything.
No. It was kind of just all the years, 20 years of doing MMA.
Yeah. And you grew up wrestling, right?
I grew up wrestling too, so 30 plus years of banging on my neck.
Yeah. So. That'll take its toll for sure. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the cool things right now, we're in our data collection mode. And so for the time being, it's going to end at some point. We're bringing patients back 6 months and a year out for free. And that really gives us an opportunity, to try different things, working around disc and stuff like that. Sometimes you can inject the disc and it'll do, really, really well. That's usually what happens. But sometimes there's so much inflammation and so much damage that we need to come at it as another angle. So I know I spoke to the doctor and they got a new plan for you to inject in the muscles that are giving you some problems, right?
Right.
And maybe the facet joints around there as well.
Yeah. So there's definitely less pain in my neck, in the discs or like the back of my neck, but now I'm just getting that muscle tension. It's still kind of hanging around, I think. So if it can relieve some of that pressure and some of that tension in the muscles, I think it'll help a ton. And I think it helped. They did some stuff in the front, like in the nerves. I think that helped with my arms because my arms were going numb almost every night when I slept.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not sure if that is from the injections in my shoulders or in the nerve in the front of my neck or what. I'm kind of not sure, but I know it's definitely gotten better in so many ways. So combination of all of it.
Well, I know after this, we're getting you out for your follow-up MRIs, so we'll be able, we'll see what shows on there. Sometimes MRIs show a change, sometimes they don't. I've had patients that feel amazing, MRIs don't show much. I've had patients still in some pain. MRIs show a lot of improvement, so it's still putting all the pieces together in the puzzle, and that's part of the data collection. This week we have 17 return patients here. Nice. To get their MRIs and to get I call it my ethical bribe, some free stem cells for coming back and letting me get this data collected from them.
Yeah.
And, all of this data that we're collecting, we're starting to be able to categorize, group it together and look at it. And hard cases like yours or cases that aren't successful, those are the ones I want people to come back the most. so that we can look to improve it and see how, to make things better, right? We both know it's like you learn the most from your losses, right?
Right.
And you get to study that tape. Someone like me learned a lot because I had a lot of losses. So
hey, me too, right?
I learned that I wasn't meant to be a pro fighter.
Well, I was, and I still took losses, right?
Yeah.
At the highest level, though, that's the way it is sometimes. There's no easy fights in the big leagues.
No way.
But I'm excited to get those MRI results and see like the tissue growth and see the difference in my rotator cuffs and the small tears in my labrum that were there. So I feel like it was enough to where I'm not thinking about surgery like I was, for sure. So again, it's going to be cool to see the pictures and see the growth, see the difference. So
see all that inflammation gone. I just, for me, when I did my first MRI 90 days after I got my back injected, but I was 100% out of pain about a month and a half in. About 2-3 weeks in is when I started noticing it was getting a lot better. But, you look at my MRIs, not a ton of change in those first 90 days. But if that's all I got, I was happy, man, because I was looking at 3 fusions. Wow. And but then my year later MRIs, like the amount of tissue growth in my disc and the hydration in my disc, it doesn't even look like the same spine anymore. Right. So that's, MRIs are weird, but for me, it's just really all about like quality of life, like getting to hear that you're sleeping better, you're feeling better. You said if you weren't coaching so much, you could do more training. I think you just told me. So
Yep. So I'm super busy coaching, getting ready to, getting the next generation of guys ready for the UFC and whatnot, trying to get in there and train with them as much as I can, but busy coaching, running the gym obviously takes away from that, but it feels good, the little bit of training that I've been able to stay consistent with.
That's good, man. That's good. Well, I'm definitely glad to hear that. And you just said that you went through a rebranding, right, with your gym and stuff?
Yeah, I opened a gym with a couple of friends a year and a half ago, and I ended up buying all them out. And we're staying like an affiliate of like Fabiano Shono Jiu-Jitsu and Chess Lab, but I rebranded to kind of represent me, and we're calling it Fuse Martial Arts. It's in my hometown where I grew up, so it's pretty cool to have a gym like in the neighborhood that I grew up in, so I can kind of give back and get some of those young kids going through the same, shit that I was in the gym, because that's what, saved me from the streets, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Especially if you'll do it in your hometown. And then,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, martial arts to me is the best thing for that,
Absolutely.
Like all of us kids that were, in college, I was always out drinking too much, fighting too much, and then finally seen this skinny Brazilian guy in a cage. I'm like, that's what I want to do, just
same here.
Get
really.
that focus.
Started watching the UFCs early, and was always kind of fighting. Grew up kind of rough, and was told I'd never amount to much, but fighting gave me that life that I never thought was possible. Seen the world, met some of the greatest people that I've ever could imagine meeting. It's been quite the journey. Yeah. Now I'm here.
Yeah.
In Tijuana.
Now it's time to pass it along, get you all healed up, and get you better. So you mentioned earlier you had some knee surgeries, but we didn't do any injections on your knees, or?
No, we didn't. And it's funny because everybody thought that's what I was down here for, different people that I know, just because of all the knee injuries I had. But I think I've just kind of grown used to a little bit of pain in my knees. And my shoulders, elbows, and neck were like causing me the most pain, like keeping me from being able to sleep at night, which is hard to recover. So you can train when you can't sleep, right? So again, the knees, that might be next time, right? That would be our next journey. If I can get my shoulders are in a good place, my elbows are in a good place, we can get my neck in a good place, then I'm probably going to come down again and do my knees. So
okay, maybe while you're here, if you have time, we'll do a quick shot in there.
I'm a little nervous about the knee injections. I've heard, that it can be like kind of inflamed at first, a little more than some of the other joints, but everybody's a little different.
Everybody's a little different. And it just, some of the things I notice, it depends, how much inflammation and stuff you got going in there. Yeah. So you had a lot of surgeries on it. And it really depends upon how you take care of your body when you go home. It takes time to grow tissue.
Yeah.
And I think as gringos, as Americans, we want everything yesterday.
Right.
Big problem that we have is with, patients leave and that inflammation goes away, the pain goes away, and like instantly we want to be right back out on the mat, right back on the golf course, doing things at the same level that we were. But I always tell people, I'm like, hey, think about it, man. If you just had 2 shoulder surgeries, would you be doing that?
Right.
No. Of course not. So give yourself that same kind of timeline. And since you're, nothing's getting cut, no screws are getting put in, anything like that. If you give yourself that same timeline, you do the physical therapy, you're going to see so much better results. But I get people being impatient,
For sure. I was pretty patient. I was doing the physical therapy. I was still doing physical therapy. But I noticed right away, I can do like a little bit of bench press. I can do push-ups for the first time in so many years without pain. I used to, a couple of push-ups and my shoulders would just be on fire, right? To the point where...
Where was the pain? Like what kind of pain were you having?
Like, kind of like the front, like, I don't know if that's a deltoid or like the front calf.
Yeah.
It would just burn. Anytime I would try to do a chest workout, my shoulders would burn out so fast. That
like in the ligament or in the muscle? Or
I feel like the muscle would just get so inflamed and start to just that burn, you feel that burn when you're lifting, but it would happen like so quick that I couldn't even focus on my chest because the shoulders would wear out so much that I pretty much avoided doing chest and shoulders for years just because, the pain was just too much to deal with, the inflammation. I figured out some ways, dumbbells and some ways to isolate my chest, but I really, for years, avoided my shoulders. So now the physical therapist is trying to get me to kind of trust my shoulders, be okay with a little bit of burn, where before I would feel the burn and be like, oh, I got to back off. And now kind of like retraining my brain to like be okay with a little bit of that burn and know that it's, it's okay. So that's been
I think you'll probably find too that the IV stem cell dose that you're going to do, I know you didn't do any last time. This time you're going to do a pretty big dose, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Those stem cells for me, like when I do the IV stem cells, it's like all my joints get a Jiffy Lube.
Wow,
It takes like about a month or so to feel it.
Okay.
And it's not like something you wake up like the next day and you're like, oh my God. But where I'd be like, I wake up and be kind of crack, pop, 54, like stem cells are nothing, I'm still, we can't completely, turn back time.
Right.
I still get, if I work out hard or do, go on a crazy hike or something like that, I still get stiff. I still get lactic acid buildup and stuff. But I just find like after I do the stem cells, I also find that when I do my cardio, like I got my little thing, I track, you know what I mean?
Right.
I can run a lot faster, do my power walks a lot faster, and my heart rate still stays a lot lower.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Max Payne just hit me up recently. He does like the underwater like breath timing.
Okay.
And in his first 45 days, his time improved over a minute.
Wow.
I think that's mostly just, placebo is a hell of a drug, but also just having all those IV stem cells go to your lungs and heal up your lungs. So I think for you, having just getting all, because you didn't get that last time, and that could have even taken away some of that stiffness and stuff too.
I agree. I've had a lot of problems with my hands over the years too. They're a lot better now than they used to be, but I have a feeling that the stem cell, the IV ones are going to help with some of that.
I got jujitsu knuckles, all that swollen.
I wake up sometimes, my hand's super stiff.
I used to get the tendonitis in here and in right here really bad. Nope, not anymore. I couldn't do pull-ups for the longest time.
Same here.
And that between that and the racing clutch on my motorcycle was real stiff. But now, man, I busted out 30 today. So, I couldn't do that before.
Right. Yeah, like I said, pull-ups, push-ups were something that I wasn't able to do a lot of, and I'm getting back to doing more of that stuff.
Did it bother you striking at all?
Like my elbows, yeah. Like if I would overextend or, you miss a jab and it kind of overextends, I would be,
like hyper.
Yeah, I would be in pain for, quite some time just from some simple stuff like that.
So, and that's gone, huh?
Yeah, it's so much better. It's unbelievable. It's almost like...
That's the sleep, man. Being able to sleep more.
That's the huge thing. Like my girlfriend even said, like, I can't believe how much you're sleeping better. Like I lay down and I'm out, like asleep. Like it's crazy. I don't think I've slept this good as long as I can remember. So out of all the things, that's probably one of the best, is just getting a good night's sleep. I used to wear one of those Oura rings, but I stopped wearing it because it shows your REM sleep, and it was so minimal. It was like frustrating, like almost want to bring me to tears. I was like, can't even wear this anymore because now my REM sleep is like so much more. It's insane, the difference.
Yeah, I this one's the Ultra Human. I got it because it does the phase 2 training.
Okay.
Which has been awesome because I lose a lot of weight doing that phase 2 training.
Right.
But I stopped looking at the sleep thing because I just felt like there was times I wake up, I feel like, I had a good night's sleep. And then I look at that thing and be like, nah, your sleep sucked. You were moving around, doing all this stuff. And then there are times I like wake up and I just be like, oh my God, I feel like crap. And I look at it and be like, oh, your sleep quality was 88%. I'm like,
yeah, that's crazy, right?
So I use it for tracking steps, heart rate. Yeah. When I'm flying in the plane, it shows my blood oxygen, level. So it's good for that. So I don't get hypoxic, but I don't even look at the sleep thing anymore.
Yeah, it's when you got like a big day coming up of training or work or whatever, life stuff. It's so hard, so frustrating when you're rolling around looking at your watch, looking at the clock. Oh man, it's already this late and I haven't slept good yet. So it's just insane the amount of sleep that I'm getting now.
Man, so I still need to work on mine. Mine's about 5.5 hours is about all I do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sleeping 8 hours some nights, like all the way through, waking up to like take a leak instead of waking up and having to roll over to the left side, roll back to the right side. So it's unbelievable, man. Can't thank you guys enough for
man. I'm glad you made it down here. Hey, how'd you find out about us in the first place?
I follow Joe Rogan, obviously. He's been talking about you guys forever. But then I saw Eric Anders' podcast I think it was with you or maybe Joe. Yeah. And he had, so much good things to say about it. And it really gave me some hope. Like, wow, there's some options. Because you hear about different stuff like this. You don't really know until you do it yourself or other people who've been through the same injuries. I know Eric's, he played football collegiately. And so he's been through a lot physically too. And for him to get results was enough for me to be like, let's do this. Let's pull the trigger.
Yeah. I mean, he was a real super responder in his neck, Some people would call them super responders, like their body just takes those stem cells and boom. And like, how fast and how much improvement that he got was, and then he went in, won the fight too.
Yeah. Pretty amazing, right? He's back down here again to get some more. So that's
cool. He just had a surgery.
Right.
So he's down here to heal up the surgery. So we get a lot of people if something completely tears, obviously stem cells can't connect it back if it's not even touching. So they'll get the surgery done, and then pretty soon thereafter they'll come down to accelerate the healing that way. Right. It's actually really common. We get a lot of people. Sometimes they hit us up ahead of time, and then they don't really qualify because it's so bad they actually need the surgery. But then they'll go ahead and maybe a month after the surgery, come down to do the stem cells to accelerate that healing.
Yeah, that's, something that wasn't around earlier in my career. Which could have maybe made my career last longer if I would have been able to get in on some of that earlier, but it wasn't around. The technology wasn't around. You guys, how long have you guys been around doing this?
Well, we started out with cellular therapies for cancer and autoimmune. We knew we could do regenerative medicine, but we got introduced to Francisco Silva, our business partner, who's like one of the best stem cell scientists in the world. And to do the regenerative stuff, we wanted to make sure that we partnered up with somebody that was really good. Ed Clay, my business partner, he's like very serious about always getting the best high level people. It comes from coaching and fighting. You got to have the best coaches if you're going to be the best fighter. And so we were actually working with another company doing a trial for stem cells for MS. Okay. And that's how we got introduced to Francisco and just had a good synergy. He loved what we were doing down here, came down, saw the hospital, and said, hey, I've been looking for a spot outside the U.S. I got patents on some specific stem cells, the hypoxic stem cell, and it just worked out. So that was like around 2018. Started doing some stem cells around 2019, but not so much publicly, just more for people. And our cancer program was just flying up until COVID. We were packed with a waiting list, and there's nothing worse than telling a cancer patient, I don't have an empty bed for you.
Right.
And so, we were expanding. We got the outpatient clinic where you guys are right there on the beach. Okay. The hospital's just down the road. And then COVID hit,
Right.
And if you had ever told me that a health emergency would close 2 hospitals, I never would have believed you. But we had to send dying cancer patients home to die because COVID was more dangerous than stage 4 cancer. So, then when we reopened, we had to take care of all the cancer patients first. And then once that balanced out, then we're like, okay, let's get into this regenerative medicine more publicly and doing things like that. And we started treating people. So I think it was maybe end of 2020 120 somewhere around there.
Yeah, I get questions all the time from people about it now. I get hit up like every day by somebody asking me about it. So.
I feel like it's hit a new level of momentum because like the same thing here, you know, like I don't, you know, like what, like I think about 20 people watch this podcast, but you know, like I was at the border the other day and one of the Border Patrol guys came up, knocked on my window and he was like, "Hey, are you that stem cell guy that Joe Rogan talks about?" Nice. Now, mind you, I've never been on Joe's show, you know? And I was like, "Oh, yeah, hey, how's it going?" You know, he's like, "Hey, you got a business card, man?" Well, yeah, sure, of course, you know, like.
Absolutely.
When you're at the border and the Border Patrol guy comes and knocks on your window, it's usually not a good thing.
Well, now you got your plane, you can just cruise over.
Yeah, right? No, I don't fly over the border yet.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I got my nice little airport right next to the border. Just land there.
All right.
It's easier to drive over. Tijuana's a big, scary airport. Big cargo planes, man. I mean, I'm scared of those big planes, man.
That thing doesn't have a clutch, does it?
The plane?
Yeah.
No, it's got a parachute. I'll take the parachute over the clutch.
I've seen your videos. It looks. I'm a little bit afraid of a small plane like that. It's probably fine, right? But it just seems.
I've had some scary moments, man. I'm not gonna lie. I just landed recently at Sedona Airport, and it's like on a plateau, like 4,000 feet up. Okay. You come in through like these red rock canyons, and coming down, everything was fine on the landing. And the wind can come up the canyon and over the plateau.
Okay.
Turn my plane at like a 45-degree angle, move the nose right at the terminal, and I was shitting my pants, man. I tried to slam the power in to go up, and because the wind was coming from behind, there was like no power. I was like, oh shit. Flipped it over, pulled the power out, pushed it down on the ground, pulled the ailerons back for brake, and the brakes as hard as I can. I'm like, I hope I don't have to go to the end of the cliff. I hope I don't go over the end of the cliff, you know?
Wow.
Now, I had a solid 2,000 feet, but like, you know, at the time the brain wasn't doing the calculations of how far it is, and you look at the end of that thing and it's just 4,000 feet off the end, you know?
That's like a bad movie.
So that's been my scariest learning experience yet. No.
Well, Sedona's beautiful. I was there last year
yeah.
for the first time. It's super beautiful there.
Yeah, there's an amazing restaurant at the airport, and the view is incredible. If you ever go back, just go up there. They got these meatballs there. They're amazing. You can just sit out there. You have the whole view of the canyon. You can watch the planes come in. And so I like to fly out there and just get lunch. It's 45 minutes from Vegas, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Fly out, get lunch, fly back. You know, something to do.
Sounds cool. Yeah.
Nice date.
Yeah, it's a nice little date.
So... Well, if you and the old lady ever get out to Vegas, we could jump in and fly around and see if I can scare you a little.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I might be down with that. Take a Valium first or something.
It's, I trust the plane, man. It's got the best autopilot in it. And, you know, we were, one of our friends who's a pilot's down here, actually, part of the reason I bought the type plane I bought, the plane has a oh shit button.
Okay.
And so, like, if you get into any weird, you know, stuff, there's this one blue button, and you can press it, and it'll level the wings, slow the plane down, and balance it out.
Wow.
And he said that when he went to buy his new to the dealer was letting him fly, and he's like, okay, just put the plane in any type of crazy position you want. So he said he went almost full throttle, pitched it straight up till it stalled, and just turned it hard, which would normally, you know, the plane would spin out. He said, as soon as it started to fall, the guy just pressed the button, and he said, I heard the plane going, all these noises, and next thing you know, it was like turning it back out right, boom, drop the nose, got the speed.
That's the autopilot?
All autopilot, yeah.
Wow, what a trip. Technology just came so far.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
And then when in doubt, just pull the parachute. But yeah, you need some space off the ground to do that.
I used to want to skydive, but now something about me, I'm older, and just not something that I want to do.
We're not the daredevils we were.
I used to jump off of cliffs into the water and bridges and just be wild thing. Careful, you know, now I'm like, doesn't sound like a good idea.
If you're anything like me, it's because you know the repercussions of the pain it could cause in the laying in bed. I mean, after I had back surgery, I was flat on my back for 8 months, just writhing in pain. Like, I thought this was supposed to fix this shit, you know? Like,
I've been pretty lucky with my back. Like, you know, a lot of guys have lower back issues and stuff. I've been pretty lucky without having any lower back issues. My neck,
you had some pain issues, I'm sure.
Yeah.
3 surgeries, you say? Yeah.
3 ACL surgeries. Yeah, 3 different times.
You sat around in pain.
Definitely sat out in a lot of pain. The back is so debilitating, though. The little bit of back stuff I've dealt with is pretty frustrating. It shuts your whole body down. Were yours like lower back or upper?
S1L5 ruptured, and then the 4 discs above it were all protruding and bulged.
Okay. S1, is that like the middle or
That's
low?
the very bottom between the very bottom disc between the pelvis and the first vertebrae.
Yeah. Anywhere I've had like some back stuff, it's been super low like that. Low on
Presses
my back.
on that sciatic nerve. It's the worst pain ever.
Yeah, again, I've been pretty lucky there with my low back. Other stuff, but no low
Pain's
back.
pain, but low back pain. That's what I mean. I think we have 14 patients here this week for low back. That's kind of gotten known to be the low back place.
Yeah, last time I was at the clinic, I talked to multiple guys who were doing their back, and then today just chatting with a guy who did his back last time, and he's back just for his recap, and he said he's feeling pretty good.
That's good.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So,
it's nothing works for everybody, right?
True.
But man, it's pretty rare. I have weeks I have 15, 16 people come back, and like all 15, all 16 of them are doing great.
Yeah,
they're doing happy, and sometimes the people that aren't, if you really dig in, they're the ding dongs that didn't follow the directions. Well, I did go snowboarding I was feeling better.
It's hard not to because snowboarding season was like right in where I live. Like February is like the coldest month and the best month for snow.
Yeah,
and so it was right after my treatments, and my son was like, "Dad, let's go snowboarding," and I wanted to go. I was like, "Maybe I can go and just take it easy." And I don't know about.
Well, you didn't do knees or back. It's the back, the back people that.
But with my shoulders,
you take a fall.
You take a fall. You post on your arms. I just didn't want to.
That's true. Yeah.
And I wanted to go shooting. I was like, "Oh, I can go shooting." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's probably not a good idea for my shoulders either." So, I waited 3 months to do anything. And I'm glad that I did. No training, no alcohol.
That's the hardest one for some people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not a heavy drinker, but it's still nice to have a cocktail with dinner or have a few cocktails with your buddies. And, it wasn't too big of a deal, but it was just kind of getting used to it, a little change of pace in life. I'm glad that I did, though. I think we were supposed to go, 3 months, and I went like a week short of 3 months before I had a few beers, which I felt like I was.
It was pretty cool. I had dinner last night with a Delta Force guy that we took care of down here, and he completely quit drinking. He goes, it wasn't for you guys insisting that I quit drinking and blah blah blah. He's like, no, I don't drink at all.
That's awesome.
And he brought his wife out. She was here getting treatment too.
Nice.
And he was pumped, So
yeah, it kind of helped me get to a point where I feel like I drink a lot less. Not that I was a heavy drinker, but I was single and stuff too. Now I have a good girl who doesn't really drink, and she's kind of on me about my health. She's a nurse, so that helps.
Oh, that's good.
So it's been
So she do some NAD for you?
Not yet. She just graduated from nursing school, so
okay,
she's not quite there yet.
You could be a practice dummy.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that. So.
Yeah.
But soon she'll be able to do all that.
We got to get you some of our take-home NAD.
Yeah, that would be great.
Line you up.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy on the way over here on the shuttle bus from the hotel, and he was saying that he got some last time, and that he was doing that every other day. I think he was doing treatments. Oh, wow. And he had a nurse coming, and he said it's been amazing. You know what I mean?
NAD's great, man. NAD's great. I try to do it once a week.
Wow, yeah.
So good for your metabolism, good for your brain. It really helps my eyesight a lot.
I could use that. My eyes are good, but they're starting to fade just a little bit in a few spots. Driving at night.
I can't say that the results of the NAD are permanent last. Okay. But then again, I'm always on my phone, on my computer, you know what I mean? Okay. But I do notice when I do NAD for a month, I feel like my eyesight's way better. So I don't know if I'm just restraining it back down in that month, or it just takes a month up, re-up on it. But
I was trying to explain to people what the NAD was, but I kind of had a hard time, putting in the right words. How can I tell people?
My understanding, NAD is a niacin derivative. It repairs your DNA on the cellular level.
Okay.
They use it a lot. It's really good for traumatic brain injuries. Okay. It improves your cognitive function. A lot of people call it the limitless IV. I notice a lot of patients that do it, the whites of your eyes get really white after doing it. It resets your circadian rhythm. So people tend to get a lot of really good sleep. It's good for your metabolism. Like I feel super energized. When I actually do it, I feel tired. But then usually that night I sleep awesome. And then I just feel energized for so long afterwards.
Yeah, I remember that, like kind of feeling energized, feeling like kind of rejuvenated.
Like patients wake up the next day, early in the morning, like, whoa, where's all this energy coming from? So
yeah, that's what the guy I talked to on the way over on the shuttle said. That he said that's what it's helped him with the most is sleep.
Sleep,
He
it
feels
helps
like
a lot with
doing
sleep.
it consistently. So
Yeah.
again, when you're in pain all the time, it's hard to get good sleep. So anything that we can do to help that get that recovery while
Sleep
we're
is
sleeping.
key. Yeah, man. Well, listen, buddy, I know you got to go to your MRI, so we're going to make this one a short one today. Plug your gym, plug your socials, anything else you want?
Yeah, just at Herman UFC is my Instagram. My new gym's Fuse Martial Arts. It's the same thing on Instagram.
I want a t-shirt. I like the name.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
All
Man.
right.
It's cool. I'll show you the logos.
I'm almost
afterwards.
down to a medium, too. So.
All right, yeah, I got some really cool, exciting new logos, and I'm excited to put out there. We're getting our patches made and stuff. I have a lot of kids at the gym, so
that's the best.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kind of anime character style logo. It's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Pumped, man. So appreciate you guys having us here, man.
Congratulate on that. Let's check these MRIs.
Awesome.